Welcome back to the grown section. It is your homeboy, your host, Flint09. Almost forgot my own name there. But anyways, I'm back with another episode trying to get these views up. You know how it goes. It's just me talking to y'all on a personal level or some type of level anyways. But today I want to talk to y'all about sensitivity. Like being a grown adult and pretty much having to mind words that you say to somebody, all from walking on eggshells or watching how you say something to a certain person because they're sensitive or they may take it in a different tone or direction of what you may be possibly even talking in. Think about it. Years ago, we used to be able to laugh at some of the raunchiest jokes and some of the, raunchiest cracks, or in some states and some other places, they call it the dozens, We used to have so much fun just being able to say stuff. And now in today's time, we can't really talk about too much of anything because every time we say something, it offends somebody. But as I've told y'all before, this is not a safe space, and nor will it ever be, because over here we're going to cuss, we're going to talk, we're going to be a little bit raunchy. My co-star wasn't able to make it with me today. She had some stuff to handle. Not that that's any of y'all business, but I ain't afraid to talk about it, I was ready to get to the laughs and the jokes and the fun and everything, but maybe we'll get to it on episode 3. But anyways, back to being sensitive. We should be able to say the stuff that we want to say. Some of us get a lot of stuff confused or misconstrued when talking to another adult. As far as like even text messages. You know what I'm saying? Like getting a black and white text message from somebody and you reading it as if you got an attitude or that person has an attitude, and it's like some of that stuff don't even be coming off the way somebody writing it, but yet you'll read it as if it's an attitude attached to it, or if it's some type of sarcasm or something attached to it. And as adults, we got to stop doing that too. Just read it for what it is, and move on with your day depending on what you might be going through. Like I said before, I'm going to always be checking my little notes because, I ain't fluent in this. I'm just a person that's trying. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Keep on with the keeping on. But we should got to be able to talk to one another without it always escalating into an argument or into some type of war tactic, as if you can't just say something that's on your mind, whether you disagreeing with somebody or whether it's something positive. People hold back from saying a lot of stuff, even in positive ways, because people misconstrue things or tones or things that somebody trying to say that's necessarily not even trying to hurt somebody or no bad intentions or whatever it may be. But we all do it as humans. But be grown, act your age and not your shoe size. It's time for everybody to grow up. We have been out here for the last year. Everybody on this, why men don't want to get married, why women don't want to date men. It's just time to be adults. Grow up. Stop being afraid to talk about stuff. Like for one, how I feel, everybody want to talk about first dates, how much it should cost, where you should go, this, that, and the third. Okay, well, if that's the case it's going to be, then don't be afraid to talk about everything. You're going to talk about your job, you're going to talk about going to the gym, you're going to talk about your hobbies, your likes and dislikes. Then don't be afraid to talk about sex. Don't be afraid to bring that up on the first date. Grown-ass adults sitting across from each other and don't even understand that that's something that you could talk about too, because that also brings in, compatibility with one another, because just because it might be great the first time may not be the same for you a year and a half later. But if it's something that you could bring up on the first date and talk about as grown-ass adults, then guess what? You might find out right then and there, hey, this person ain't the one for me. We got to stop acting like we can't do certain things as grown-ass adults as far as talking about anything, If you're going to go on a date with somebody and you trying to get to know them, based off the first date, or y'all been talking in each other DMs, texting, whatever, don't be afraid to talk about it. Hey, I'm into this, I'm not into that. You might find out that y'all not even compatible and y'all been talking for the last 2-3 months and just may not even be for each other. based off that one certain thing. Because a lot of people get together based off likes and dislikes. You get together and, I'm a gym person. Oh, you like the gym. Oh, yeah, I like swimming. Oh, you like swimming. Oh, I like going out to the club. Oh, you like going out to the club. You know what I'm saying? But y'all always skip over that one thing to talk about as grown-ass adults. And that's something else that should be brought to the table as far as first dates and stuff like that go. And that's what I mean. That's what this is about, being grown, being adults. And some of y'all may not agree with that, and that's fine. That's okay. You don't have to agree with everything that I'm saying. I'm just saying, as grown adults, you shouldn't be afraid to talk about it, at least on a first date, because then you're not wasting your time being with somebody who's not completely compatible for you, if that makes sense to you. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to talk about spending money and where the first date should be and what this, a coffee date, this, that, and the third. Man, don't be afraid to say, okay, well, when we talking on this date, as a grown person talking to another grown person, hey, what's your level of sex about? I'm this way. Are you this way? And get to know each other based off that too. That way you don't spend time trying to be with somebody and work in things with somebody, and then you find out later on that y'all weren't compatible in that area. That's all I'm saying. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Be a grown adult at your age and not your shoe size. You know what I'm saying? But let's get to the point of where, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, back in the day, we used to be able to laugh at raunchy jokes and say raunchy stuff to each other without it being such a questionable thing of today. Being able to crack jokes, being able to roast one another, being able to say certain stuff to each other without somebody's feelings getting hurt and everybody just laughing. It's one thing, like back in the day, some people used to take it way too far, but then again, that's just how some people is, because I know I got 2 people in my family that would definitely knock paint off the walls with their comedy and the way they crack and roast on people. We've been dealing with this for years, since we were little, and there's no way to this day that what they are doing is to be mean or intentionally being a hurtful person. It's just who they are as people, and that's cool. But to be able to get to a point where laughing becomes so dangerous because somebody's saying something to another person and they just getting in their feels about it, we got to stop doing that as grown adults. As grown adults, be able to talk to one another like a grown adult and take it as that, depending on what you're actually going through. We used to be able to joke and clown around at work and have fun and stuff like that. Now we have to be dead serious all the time. We used to be able to have grown conversations that, allow differences, and now it's just a bunch of silence and a bunch of, oh, I can't say this, I can't speak on that, because if I do, then this person is going to be offended. This person is going to take it the wrong way or be hurt. We got to learn how to stand up in what we saying. I ain't saying be a hurtful person or doing something out of spite or just to make somebody mad, pissed off, or whatever. All I'm saying is we got to, depending on which end of the conversation you're on, you just got to be an adult about it. Sometimes, you just got to be able to take it and say, you know what, that person might be right. If that person's 100% wrong, then hey, explain it to them in the right way, because we have so many people out here that do this stupid childish thing where I heard something about you. Okay, so who you hear it from? Oh, no, I can't tell you. I can't tell my sources. How you a whole grown-ass adult and you gonna tell me you heard something about me, but you can't tell me who you heard it from, so I can go back and correct that person and give them the right information if they're out here giving false information. And that's, one of the things that I'm talking about as far as being a grown adult, being able to just say stuff without thinking you're gonna offend somebody. Because so-and-so over there told you something about me, but you won't even give me the chance to go over there and correct so-and-so because you too busy trying to hold so-and-so down. So-and-so shouldn't even be telling you my business, let alone telling you some false information. And then for you to be a grown adult standing here in front of my face and can't even tell me who told you the information so I can give them the correct information. Exactly what I'm talking about. Being grown adults, you know what I'm saying? I know I say that a lot, but I mean, some of us just need to hear it. Like I said, at your age and not your shoe size. It's ridiculous how grown-ups act more like little kids than they do like the grown-ups, you know? Like I tell people all the time, when we were little, we couldn't wait to be grown. I can't wait till I'm grown. I can't wait till I get my car. I ain't got to ask nobody for nothing. And then as soon as we all 30 plus, now everybody want to play like 14 and 15-year-olds. It's crazy. The amount of people that would rather play like a 14 or 15-year-old than to act their age. And that's just running rampant in the world, everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You know, now we getting into it about these social media platforms, you know, as far as like even things like age verification. You putting in all of this work, showing your ID, taking pictures of yourself, and then they still coming back saying, oh, it's something wrong. Wait a minute, how many times I got to tell you I'm a grown person? You know, a lot of these social media things, you know, should be split up, I think. I mean, I don't know if any of y'all feel the way I feel. Do you think that age verification is good or is it bad? I mean, I think it's a good thing. I think it's both, really, because at the end of the day, how many times do I got to show you that I'm grown without you telling me that I'm not, you know? But then again, a lot of stuff should be split up into different segments where these kids have their own sort of kind of platform in some of these social media, you know, applications, as I'm gonna say, you know. A lot of stuff should be separated from them, especially like there should be a grown section on Twitter. There should be a grown section on TikTok. There should be a grown section on Facebook. There should be a grown section on Instagram. That way, a lot of people don't have to keep worrying about their accounts being banned or shut down, all because of the simple fact that people are being grown on these websites and these social media sites. And a lot of people's accounts are being taken down or being shadow banned or put to the back all because they're acting their age. And for me, I just don't think that that's right. I think it should be an age verification for all of these sites, but at the same time, I think that it's a lot to go through just to prove that you've grown and who you are. But at the same time, I do feel like these kids should be separated from the adults, you know. I think that's just mandatory, because some of us look at different things, you know, and you can't, you know, some of us give our phones to our kids too, especially our young ones, you know, YouTube and then watching videos or whatever may have you. Ain't no telling what they can scroll across, you know. So I think, you know, there should be a button like on your app that says, you know, hey, I'm about to give my phone to my child. Let me hit this button, and it can switch it over to more sensitive stuff, to where you don't have to worry about your child coming across something, you know, they don't need to see. But that's just me. That's just me. I'm not trying to change everything. I ain't trying to change the world. I ain't trying to change you. I ain't trying to change nobody. I'm just sitting here saying that, you know, give the adults space to be adults. And yes, I know I'm all over the place. You know, I'm pretty much just trying to catch up from last week. But I'm here today and I'm doing it. Respect is one of them things that should just come from everybody as far as being adults. You know, everybody's going to have a different opinion about everything, no matter what it is. Somebody's going to have a different opinion about it, but that don't make everything and everybody wrong because we don't see eye to eye on something. Just because, you know, you're letting certain situations tell you how to be an adult don't mean it applies to the next person. Just because you like something a certain way don't mean that the next person has to like it the same exact way. Just because you think this is supposed to be this way doesn't mean the next person has to think the same way as you. Learn to deal with differences. Learn to deal with understanding and being able to talk to one another without it being some type of beef or some type of war, some type of agitation, argument, or anything like that. I mean, I should be able to tell you that I disagree with you on something without all of a sudden being blocked on everything because I just don't agree with you. Disagreeing doesn't stand for hate or attitude or anger. It just means I don't think the way that you think. I don't live the way that you live. I don't feel the way that you feel. But, you know, us adults, we have to get back to somewhat of our old ways, because we grew up in a world where we didn't have these cell phones and social medias, and we had AOL dial up and stuff like that, depending on how old you are coming into this era. But now that social media has pretty much taken over, and you're able to say and do a bunch of stuff, and it creates beef outside of that, because we have what we still call keyboard warriors, people who hide behind these phones and talk all that crap, thinking that they'll never see that person, and then we all know how that goes. So there's no reason to get too in depth with that. But that's just another thing that I was saying last time, to like being a troll. That's some little kid stuff right there. Like, that's something teenagers do to each other in school. As grown adults, there's no way you should be trying to troll another adult. You're going to always have differences. You're going to always not see eye to eye on a lot of things. And to sit around and think that, it's any type of malice or hate, it just shows that, you weren't ready to engage with other people in the terms of whatever it is the conversation is about. Sometimes you just got to be an adult and just stand there, take it, and be able to get your point out without having to yell or scream. We got to chill. We got to bring that sensitivity level back up, because some of us was born in the 70s and the 90s, and we've all slid down that slide in a 90-degree day, where that end of that slide was burning up, or being on that merry-go-round that was spinning so fast you throwing up. Some of us actually played outside from sun up to sundown. We're not used to a lot of this social media stuff, and as far as what we grew up going through, being on camera was just something that was just never ever tolerated. So these are new trying times for a lot of us, and some of us just aren't used to you talking crap over there on your phone, acting like I'ma never see you, and then when I see you, you already know it's just smoke in the city, and you may not even have meant it like that. You just trying to make a point, but the other person took it like, nah, you said something that triggered this, So that's basically what I'm saying, is we have to get back to some of our old ways as being adults. We can't keep letting social media and these cell phones trigger our angry emotions from things that people are saying. Sometimes you just got to let it run off your back. Sometimes you just got to say, you know what, man, fuck that. But at the end of the day, it's about being an adult. It's about being able to say things without people taking it intentional or with any type of malice in their heart or their mind. I should be able to talk to you about anything, and we have some sort of understanding. Even if you do get angry about what I'm saying, because it's a lot of people out here that don't feel like they're wrong about stuff, and sometimes you are, But how do you feel about the age verification thing? Let's talk more about that. Get in them comments. Talk to me, you know what I'm saying? Let's see how you really feel about the age verification thing, because I think that's something that should be a thing. Separating these kids on these platforms from adult things. And I ain't just talking one specific industry. I'm talking everything. I don't think kids should be able to scroll down their phone and be able to see Aunt such and such talking about Aunt such and such, bad taste in cooking, or whatever the case may be. Some things should just be made for adults, and I don't think age verification is a bad thing. But also, let's get back to bringing up that sensitivity, let's get back to being adults, where we can laugh and we can joke with one another, and we can say something without the other person getting mad. We also got to stop being people on these websites talking crazy, thinking that you'll never see the other person, because we know it's a small world everywhere. Sorry again to be looking down. I'm just looking at my little notes, you know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to be disrespectful, but like I said, I'm not fluent in this. This is just something that, a topic anyways, that I felt needed to be addressed, because some people hold things in that really want to say stuff but can't say nothing because they don't want to offend or disrespect somebody or get somebody angry and mad. And I think we living in such a sensitive time where we just going to continue to just grow more sensitive every day, you know. We got to get back to being adults. We got to get back to running things the way adults do, you know, and being able to talk to one another without it being such a big issue or a problem. You know, I don't care what you got going on over there as long as you just keep it funky. Just keep it 100. Keep it 1,000 wild with a brother. You know, other than that, we good, you know. But it should be like that for a lot of people. It should be like that for, you know, majority of the people out here just thinking, you know, if you say something to me, I'm going to say something back. When some people are saying some, you know, stuff with intentions of just getting some understanding out of you to get you to just see things through a clearer eye, you know, lens, I should say, glasses or whatever, you know. Everything ain't always going to be something sweet, you know. Sometimes it's just going to hit you like a punch, you know, like a snowball to the face. And in today's time, I think a lot of us need that to really focus on getting out of these spoiled ways and stuff like that. And I know I was all over the place today. I know I was. It's a lot of stuff that I've been wanting to talk about. And like I said, I wasn't able to drop last week. And I feel like I'm punching it all in there together today. So please just bear with me. This is my second episode. I'm really trying to just stick to the one topic, but I just wanted to get some other stuff in there as well too. Being grown don't mean you'll never hear something you don't like. It means you can handle it without crying for the world to save you. And that was something I came across this past week, and I felt like that definitely needed to be said, you know. Stop waiting on everybody to rally with you on something. If you feel like you right about everything or right about something, you know. I hope y'all didn't take that with any malice or any disrespect, you know. You know, you already grown. Just act like it. You know, I'm gonna say that for the people in the back. You already grown. Just act like it, you know. No one's coming to save you, and I ain't gonna get all off into that. I just mean we gotta stand on 10 and we gotta go forward in everything that we do, no matter how much it bothers you, you know. Be able to take something that somebody's saying and be able to sit back and maybe find some gratitude in it, even if it's something that affects you or offends you, you know. Everybody's not out to try to hurt everybody, but there is some devious people out here. We already know there is some devious people out here, and you can't. I'm not going to sit here and say that they're not. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying everybody is always good. What I'm saying is just when we, as being grown adults, I should be able to tell you your food suck and you cannot cook, but I appreciate you for trying without you crying in a corner and telling me to get out and blocking me on everything. You know, if it's nasty, it's nasty. I mean, I can't cook for shit. You know, I've tried. I've had my family look at me and be like, don't you ever try this again. Ever. For real. I've cooked food that the dog looked at me and was like, man, look, if I could open up the door and throw this out, I would. I didn't take it in any malice. I tried something, you know, and it didn't work out. Just like I'm trying this. It may not work out, but hey, at least I'm trying, you know. But we got to get back to being adults. We got to let go of this sensitivity stuff. I mean, look what just happened to our man on late night TV, Jimmy Kimmel. You know, sorry to wait to the end to even bring this up. I mean, everybody butthurt about something that happens every day. And I ain't saying it like what actually happened is something that happens every day. But what I'm saying is people die every day. But I mean, they're always making jokes. They're late night TV. They're comedians. They're always making jokes some way, somehow, no matter how dark, how funny, how whatever. You know what I'm saying? It was just meant to be funny. And my man, after how many years of being on TV, they went ahead and booted him. You know what I'm saying? He got his job back, you know. But I mean, this is how sensitive we are becoming, you know. And, hats off to the man that passed away. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Not going to sit here and get deep off into that, but I just don't want nobody to think I'm trying to be disrespectful. I'm just really talking about the sensitivity level of where we have come to from where we came from to now in 2025. Just the sensitivity level of not being able to say something because people will be offended and throw a fit. And, the world always got to come save you. And it's like, come on, chill out. We know that man meant no malice. We know that man meant no disrespect. He was just trying to do his job. And just that quick. I mean, before he could even get dressed to rehearse and do out of here. Come on now. We got to chill with that. We coming from the 80s and the 70s, some of us. Some of us is still born from the 60s. We've been dealing with this type of stuff since we were born. We got to stop acting like we ain't never heard dark humor before. We ain't never heard some real raunchy stuff before. We have, and we're all still walking around fine. Nobody's really bleeding from somebody making a joke. I mean, it's crazy how today, look at some of these comics, excuse me. Some of these comics won't even come back out and get on stage anymore because they're so used to telling raunchy jokes and they're so used to telling dark humor that they won't even get on stage for us anymore because they know what they're going to say and what they're going to do, and it's going to offend somebody, and just that fast, boom, you out of here. We got to stop being sensitive. We gotta learn that some stuff is just meant to be funny and just move on from it. No matter what it's about. Some people out here is just taking words so aggressively, and we are better as a people than that. I mean, we come from climbing trees and jumping off roofs. We come from, walking through old abandoned houses, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, we come from be home before the street lights come on. We come from, BB gun fights and, fake karate moves and stuff like that, to where we now acting as if we can barely even say hi to one another. Like I said, you already grown. Just act like it, Stop being as if things can't be said in some type of a way where it can just be like, you know what, that wasn't funny, but I'm gonna let you have that one. And my thing about it is the sensitivity level is just way too low. And I'm not talking to no underage kids. I'm not talking to nobody really under the age of 27 right now, because like I said, most of us grew up in the 80s and the 90s. We've been through so much stuff that to be able to just say a raunchy joke could offend you now. Come on, man. You've been through worse. You've been through way worse. So I know a joke is not bothering you that badly. And if it is, then maybe you need to do something that you used to do in the 80s. Go listen to an old rap song or something like that to make you remember the old times of when things weren't always as good, but laughter and got us through it. We've been through worse stuff as older adults, But just to bring it back around one more time, I definitely would like for everybody to get into the comments and tell me how you feel. I mean, there's no reason to sit back and act like we can't have a conversation as grown adults. But as always, it's your boy Flint09, and thank you again for checking into the grown section. And I'm going to say it, you already grown, just act like it. And I'm out of here. Peace.